we talked about Matt Rhule in year 3 and how, Temple take a big step forward. Baylor take a big step forward. The Carolina Panthers is a totally different game. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to look at that in relationship to how he succeeded
Yeah.
in college football. But also, there's the fact that he's playing in a tougher league than he did at Baylor or Temple. The rules have changed. I looked at Nebraska's staff. They're one of the staffs I've done a deep dive on. Their continuity is non-existent, although I think they've made upgrades consequentially. Like they had to relegate Satterfield and bring in Holgorsen. I don't think Tony White and Matt Rhule were in agreement on everything, and I think that's why he left for Florida State. And also, Florida State spends money. They care about football. What is your view on Matt Rhule with Nebraska? Not just this year, but long term. Like, let's say even if you want to think about it, like beyond Dylan Raiola. Like, what's your view of this program under Rhule? A proud blue blood that's been down, had their first winning season in like literally ages. I think the last time they had a winning season, I was 13 years old. I'm
Yeah.
22 now.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
So I think the ceiling for them is to win the Big Ten this next year.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's the ceiling.
That's pretty incredible.
I think they could win the Big Ten. I think Raiola needs to clean a lot of that shit up, if I'm going to just be point blank about it. I think he needs to stop worrying about looking like Patrick Mahomes and needs to start worrying a little bit more about film and playing football and all those things. And I'm really surprised at some of the way he acts, given he's a coach's son. Truly am. But he's another one when you listen to him speak, like, oh, the football IQ and everything like that, that's all there. And he has potential to be an NFL player as well. But like the difference in terms of, he was the number 1 overall quarterback recruit in the country, pocket passer style. Lagway was he's not even in the same breath as Underwood when it comes to the recruiting prospect coming in. Underwood's generational, the way Lawrence was, the way Vince Young was, the way Andrew Luck was, all that stuff. So I think that they have, at the absolute best, everything goes 100% correct. You could see them in Indy, and you could see them win the game in Indy. And that a lot has to do with trusting the culture that Rhule builds, because I am seeing it in Nebraska this past year, even in games where they didn't necessarily win or anything like that. And I know they got destroyed the week before Ohio State, but then you saw the game against Ohio State at how much they fought and how well they played. That's the opposite of what we talked about with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss.
Hey guys, it's Sam here, reminding you to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and click the like button if you haven't done so already. College Football with Sam is my dream job. I want to make this the biggest and best college football channel and also cover this sport for the rest of my life. Making sure that more than 42% of our viewers are subscribed and more than 12% of our subscribers have hit the notification bell is a critical part to the channel's success. So make sure that you have liked the video, that you have hit the notification bell, that you have subscribed to the channel, and that if you have the time, watch the video all the way through. Again, this is my dream job. I believe that we can make this the biggest and best college football channel on YouTube. You've helped me over the past 4 seasons earn over $40,000, $32,730 of which has gone towards paying my tuition, which has put me on track to graduating from the University of Michigan completely debt-free. So make sure to do those things to support the channel. It's totally free, and in return, you get the best college football analysis on YouTube.
Like that culture is building there.
Michigan-esque, the way they played Ohio State, where
Exactly.
they just let Ohio State make mistakes, but they stayed in, and even while making their own mistakes, they fought. They never caved. They played their A-plus game there, and it was huge. Rhule even mentioned it in the post-game press conference. It's like, this is the first time, I'm paraphrasing here, but like the first time I felt like we can play at like a championship caliber or something like that.
So they showed it, like it's there. It all exists there. And the game against Colorado was a long time coming, man. That fan base needed something like that. But remember, that was when everyone was so high on them. And I think it was on your show the week after I told you, hey, everybody needs to kind of calm down. Like they didn't score a offensive point in the second half, and they got that pick six. But like they still had things that they need to work on. I trust Rhule to develop those things. So I do think you're going to see an improvement in this next year. Do I think they get to 9 wins? Potentially. Like I said, I think their ceiling is to ultimately win 11 games and go to Indy and win the Big Ten, because they have the prowess, they have the talent to do so, and they've developed. While they haven't had continuity on the staff, they've made the moves I think that they've needed to on the staff to ultimately get better. If it doesn't work out this year, then I think you see a little bit of what you just said of, well, is the Rhule formula essentially, is he great at elevating teams that aren't that great and in lesser competition and getting lesser recruited players to play up above their potential, but then when he has to do it at the, ultimate SEC or a Big Ten level, hey, it just kind of falls apart, and that's more equivalent to, we're in big league now, just like you were in the NFL, and that stuff just didn't pan out and didn't work. But everything is there for them. Everything is set up for them. They've got a lot of the, what I'd say, behind the scenes, people saying we need to be the old Nebraska and recruit this certain way, or people saying no, we got to adapt to the modern. They've taken care of that, and they're unified in terms
That's
of what
great.
they're doing on the back end, and that's extremely important. And so now it's the first, like, this is the season. And you really see, in my opinion, does Rhule have a culture that is sustainable for success for a decade to come? And you'll know a lot of that this year. Or does he potentially need to look in the mirror and make changes and adapt? Or ultimately, then, does Nebraska need to look in the mirror and make changes and adapt? Because even if he has a bad season this year, I don't think Nebraska would move on from him. I think they'd give him a year to try and correct it, as they should.
Yes.
Teams move on from coaches way too soon in this year, and he has shown you that he has that ability to move them in the right direction. So my ultimate outlook for them is positive. I like them heading into this year. I need to see Raiola take that next step in maturity for them to ultimately reach their full potential, which is, like I said, they could win the Big Ten and then compete in the college football playoff. But I mean, that Nebraska fan base needs to be looking for 9 wins or more. They really need. That's really what they need to be looking for.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I long-term like them. I do think that Rhule needs to, adapt and make some changes, but I think he did that a little bit after 6-6, and I think if needed, he'll do it again. I think their schedule also aligns with everything you said. I think the only game that is a for sure L is at Penn State in like late November. And, you said that's your preseason number 1 team. That's also my preseason number 1 team. And that's just going to be tough late in November in Happy Valley. But every other game is winnable. Like every other game. And you could probably have like a 2019 Baylor situation. They lose the biggest game, which is painful. But if you beat everyone else, especially with this expanded playoff, you're in a very good position. And you'd, probably not be a lifer, but you'd have a lot of faith from the fan base and everyone around you if you win, 10, 11 games with a program that hasn't since Frank Solich, like since the year, I forget, when was the last time they won 11 games? I don't know. I mean, I was born in 2002. I think it was 2001. I think was the last time they won 11 games.
They won 10 under Pelini, but the last time they won 11 was the year that they got blown out by Miami in the national
2001. They have not won more than 10
Yeah.
games in that long. It's crazy. And I think they have a proud fan base. I think it's one of the best. I think it's the most engaged in college football because it's not it's not Ohio State size, it's not Michigan size, it's not, Bama, Texas, Georgia size, but they're engaged. It's why they keep showing up to the games even though they've been through it.
So loyal, so nice too, so welcoming to all the other teams that come in. College football is better when Nebraska's good.
Amen.
It's that simple.
I agree with that. And I like where they're heading. I do have some questions about them, as I think everyone does and everyone should. I will say with Holgorsen there and Raiola and the moves they made in the portal, I trust the offense way more than the defense going into next year.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. That's fair.
Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts down below to support the work that I do here on College Football with Sam. I want to give a shout out to Crash2488, Barasco Rascal, and Connor Little OH for being Heisman members on the Patreon page. Thanks to Chris Lane, Ismar, and Tyler Nye for being All-American members. And thanks to John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, Joshua Jorgensen, and Will Loftus for being all-conference members. Remember to check out my merchandise store, Patreon page, and Discord server as well via the links in the description or down below in the pinned comment. I will see you all very soon. Have a fantastic day. God bless.